Hi there, everybody. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
And Jolé Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet, and we'd like to welcome you to today's show, where we are going to dive a little bit deeper into some of the things we spoke about last week, as well as moving into more personal development. And definitely, John's going to tell us more about it.
Thank you, Jolé. Yes, we've got some really fascinating stuff this time around. You know, we are in an era where remarkable truths are going to come to the surface. Now, anybody who is part of our community is already aware of very many remarkable truths already. And therefore, we are in a good position that as these unfold, we don't drop into panic, we don't drop into anger, because we kind of know this to be true already. This is a time of ascension. It's really interesting. Um, but yeah, this is where Tartaria, the lost civilization, comes in. And I remember we may have covered the very, very bare bones of this, maybe even a year or even 2 years ago. I remember it coming up because I didn't know too much about it at the time. I know one of our community, Janet, she was familiar with this subject. So I did check it out. And it's really interesting that, and anyway, a bunch of information came our way this week, and it was just the right time. So that is definitely something that we are going to be exploring because it is one of those remarkable truths that will come to the surface, and it empowers us. It helps us to understand the nature of who we really are and how much repression there has been, but it's all coming to an end. And the other thing, as Jolé said, we're going to go back to the likes of David Icke, continue that conversation we were having last week with a lot of David's wisdom. And I've got to say that I've seen a lot of his work just recently, and it is absolutely nail on the head kind of stuff. Representing Elevated Planet the way that we would like to be represented as well. So it's powerful stuff. And yeah, so yeah, we'll start with David as part two to last week, and then we head over to Tartaria and our Galactic Federation chums. What do you reckon, Jolé?
Let's get moving.
Yeah, okay, okay. Right, I'm not sure whether it's Tartaria or Tartaria, but anyway, that bit is up to
I
you.
thought it was Tartaria.
Tartaria, that's what I've been calling it, but I've heard a few different versions, but hey,
Yeah.
I'm sure the Tartarians don't mind.
I guess it's what part of the world you're from, how you pronounce it, right?
Yes. Us Yorkshire folk over in England, we call it Tartaria. Anyway, we're going to go into section number one. So hang on to your hats, everybody. It's going back to David Icke for the next section.
Transcending duality involves embracing paradox, recognizing that all experiences serve expansion. This transformative view turns adversaries into teachers, conflicts into catalysts, fostering compassion that dissolves barriers. Knowledge seekers find joy in this, weaving threads of unity through diverse perspectives, co-creating a reality grounded in love rather than fear. Venturing into the metaphysical, entities and forces beyond the visible spectrum influence the simulation, some as guides, others as interferers. These can be navigated through discernment, tuning into inner guidance to distinguish truth from deception. The deepest secret affirms that ultimate power resides within, rendering external influences powerless without consent. This empowers individuals to reclaim authority, transforming encounters into opportunities for soul growth and multidimensional exploration. The economic system, a cornerstone of the matrix, is built on scarcity and debt, illusionary chains that bind creativity. Breaking free involves recognizing abundance as the natural state, shifting to value-based exchanges that honor contribution over competition. This transformation liberates resources, allowing innovation to flourish in service to collective well-being. Education, another matrix pillar, often indoctrinates rather than enlightens, funneling minds into conformity. True learning is self-directed, fueled by curiosity that explores beyond curricula, integrating science, spirituality, and intuition. This approach empowers lifelong learners to question, discover, and innovate, turning knowledge into wisdom that elevates humanity. Relationships within the Matrix are scripted for drama, emphasizing attachment over authentic connection. Transforming them involves vulnerability and mutual growth, creating bonds that amplify energy rather than drain it. This fosters communities of awakened souls, support networks that accelerate collective evolution. Art and creativity serve as portals out of the Matrix, expressions of the soul that bypass programmed filters. Engaging in creation, music, painting, writing, taps into source energy, manifesting visions that inspire others to awaken. For the ever-curious, this is a playground of infinite possibility, where imagination shapes reality. Technology, often a tool of control, can be repurposed for liberation when aligned with conscious intent. Innovations in energy, communication, and healing hold potential to dismantle old paradigms, provided they're guided by ethics and unity. The Matrix's endgame is assimilation, merging human consciousness with artificial intelligence to perpetuate the simulation. Yet, this can be thwarted by maintaining sovereignty, choosing organic evolution over synthetic integration. The uplifting path lies in human potential, far surpassing any machine, through the power of heart-centered awareness. Dreams offer glimpses beyond the veil, realms where the Matrix's rules bend, providing insights and rehearsals for awakening. Lucid dreaming enhances this, allowing conscious navigation of subconscious landscapes, unlocking creative solutions and spiritual revelations. Synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences, are signals from the infinite self, confirming alignment with purpose. Noticing and following them guides the journey, transforming randomness into divine orchestration. The role of emotions is pivotal, their energy in motion, navigable through awareness to avoid entrapment, transmuting lower vibrations into higher ones, fear into love, anger into passion, fuels ascension, creating a personal frequency that repels matrix distortions. Ancient civilizations left legacies of wisdom, encoded in pyramids, myths, and symbols, blueprints for escaping the cycle. Encoding these revives forgotten knowledge, empowering modern seekers to rebuild a harmonious world. Cosmic cycles influence the matrix, with astrological alignments and solar activity triggering awakenings. Aligning with these rhythms accelerates transformation, syncing personal growth with universal flows. The illusion of death is the matrix's greatest fear tactic, portraying it as an end rather than a transition. Understanding reincarnation and soul continuity liberates from mortality's grip, inviting fearless living in pursuit of truth. Collective consciousness shapes reality. As more awakened, the matrix weakens, tipping scales toward a new paradigm. This global shift is underway, propelled by those who dare to question and embody change. The deepest secret of the matrix is that it's a temporary school for the soul, designed for evolution through illusion. Embracing this awakens infinite potential, transforming existence into a canvas of co-creation. For the curious, ever-learning mind, this journey is eternal, each revelation a step toward ultimate freedom, where humanity claims its destiny as conscious architects of reality.
So much wisdom. Imagination shapes reality. And that's very true, and it's also very exciting because it means that we have limitless opportunities ahead of us. As David says, ultimate power lies within. External interference requires our consent, But the thing is, we've been so used to giving our consent because we've been programmed to believe we're powerless. So by realizing the truth of the matrix, we can choose to step out by no longer consenting to anything that doesn't resonate. Simply withdraw your energy from the narrative and the matrix loses its power over you. And do so from a place of heart-based consciousness. Create the emotions of love, joy, peace, and compassion and the likes. And that is then what you are feeding into the quantum field, which is both powerful for you and for humanity at this time of planetary transition. David talks about our economic system that have been built on creating scarcity and debt. And we break free by recognizing abundance as our natural state, which indeed it is. We have been programmed to believe in limitation, but by tapping into our power within, we can escape that illusory state. And salvation is heading our way with a completely new financial system, which will be unveiled in the years ahead, this time based on transparency and fairness, and no dark overlords pulling the strings. The QFS, the quantum financial system, is heading our way. This will allow innovation to flourish in service of the collective well-being. And as for education, this will be fully revamped to get away from the current indoctrination program that is designed to condition us to serve the control agenda by feeding us with lies that pass for our reality. This is an exciting time to be here in this great uncovering of our true limitless power. Inevitably, many will be so caught up in the matrix that they don't escape, but that is as it should be. Each soul's path is sacred and everything happens with divine timing. And Jolé, what would you care to add?
Negative energy is unavoidable at this point in this timeline. No matter where you are on the spectrum, you're going to experience frustration and irritation, maybe a little bit of anger and fear for different reasons. Nevertheless, when you start to work internally, as David Icke says, what does that look like? The moment of judgment comes in your mind about you, someone else, a situation. You take a pause, you breathe, and you get that negative thought out of your mind, or you focus it into the solution. And this way, what happens is that judgment and that labeling falls away, and then those limitations begin to go with it because they fail to be able to hang out with a frequency and a vibration that is radiating positivity and light. And that looks like what? Self-love and love for your environment. And these are all joyful and beautiful things. And that's why I chuckle because not because I have them fully, but because the moment that I think about joy or love or abundance or any one of the laws, it's this blissful energy, this moment where I kind of understand what it feels like to rub up against that. And so laughter and joy is a huge part of that. And when you're beginning to go on this journey of self-love, which involves healing, and sometimes healing is just acceptance, for who you are and where you are. Nevertheless, to really get to the point where you are expanding and magnetizing in the positive energy, it does take some time with working with some of these thoughts and these feelings and these emotions. And you work with them sometimes in the dark instead of taking them out on other people. I understand that David Icke may be a controversial figure due to the albatross that's been put on him in regards to anti-Semitism and hate. However, I don't know him that way. And regardless of whether I do or whether I don't, he has information that I believe is valuable and that resonates with me. And what he just spoke about in regards to letting go, becoming a part of, understanding that you are part and parcel of everything around you, letting go of some of these restrictions, oppression, understanding these mind control programs for what they are, recognizing them within you, and then working to remove them. And once we do it within ourselves, we then help people around us, such as David Icke, let go of some of these belief systems that maybe don't serve the whole, if that is indeed true. So I really want us and me and we to take time and look within before we try to throw a mantle on someone else, before we try to judge someone else, label someone else. Let's take a look at us. Am I innocent? Absolutely not. You know, I have my moments of commenting. I have my moments of watching and partaking of things that don't really serve me all the time. Nevertheless, I'm a human being. And I give myself grace to relax and take in the things that make me feel good. And then I can show up and be a better person to those in my environment. So these are some of the things that I would love to put on the table to have you look at in your own life. And always remember the 100th monkey theory. So that means the more that you work on yourself and the more that you learn, become curious, open doors that are going to help you open your mind, the more that reverberates out. And sooner or later, mankind's vibration and energy and frequency raises. That is what we're looking for. So love on you.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I do, I understand now, and I didn't realize in the first place that David was as controversial as he has been. And I'm always a little bit wary when I hear that because I've also seen some very, very good people turned on by social media and the likes in a deliberate attempt to kind of devalue their message. But as far as this particular piece that we've used, it's been very powerful. And I've got to say that it's regardless of who's saying it. And I agree with you. I think there's so much there that he talks about, and that soul continuity over death. Like this, the fact that the Matrix kind of this is one of the tricks up the sleeve is to make people very fearful of death because then that makes them easier to control. Because I think that is just one of them. The things
Yes.
that we realize that doesn't need to be the case.
And unfortunately, in this timeline, just one other thing is we have this belief system that the more others have, the less that I have. Please, let's work on letting go of that because Mother Earth is abundant. And the belief is if they have it, I can have it too. Right. And it's not to go over there and rob them or, or
No.
like bother them or do anything to
Yeah.
hurt or affect them. It's about seeing that as an example, loving on that and allowing for that to teach you maybe so that you can build your own. You see the difference? So that's another thing for us to think about, dealing with the fact that we've been programmed.
Yeah.
Jealousy and envy is a program to think that when others have it, I don't. Let's let it go. If you recognize beauty, if you recognize abundance, that means it's in you.
Absolutely, Jolé. And one of the other things that David mentioned helps link us into the next section. When he spoke about the ancient sites that have left clues as to the way forward, so we always think about the pyramids as a prime example of this, but also maybe the remnants of the mythical empire of Tartaria that has been deliberately removed from human history. And you're about to find out why and yet more about this remarkable civilization from our galactic chums. So, take it away, Valir.
In this sacred moment of transformation on your Earth, the veils of illusion are lifting and long-hidden truths are rising to the surface. We, the Pleiadians, come forth to share a revelation that has been veiled in your world for centuries. As the dawn of awakening spreads its light across the planet, the memory of an ancient advanced empire stirs once more in the collective consciousness. Know that you are now ready to receive this knowledge, for your hearts have called out for truth, and your spirits yearn to remember. This unveiling is part of the new dawning on Earth, a time when all that was hidden shall be revealed and healed, and where humanity steps back into its light. We speak of the great civilization of Tartaria, a land and people whose legacy has been largely erased from your recorded history, yet lives on in the whispers of your intuition and the echoes within Gaia's memory. Tartaria was not a myth or a mere story. It was a thriving empire of light and knowledge that existed in your not-so-distant past. This empire spanned much of your world, leaving its mark on every continent in the form of magnificent architecture, advanced technologies, and profound spiritual wisdom. The beings of Tartaria lived in harmony with the earth, harnessing natural energies freely and upholding principles of unity and peace. Their cities shone with exquisite buildings, towering spires and ornate domes that not only inspired awe, but also served a higher purpose, to channel free energy and high vibrational frequencies to the people. In Tartaria's time, energy was abundant and free, a gift from the earth and the cosmos. The Tartarians understood how to tap into the ether, the life force energy that permeates the atmosphere and the ley lines beneath the ground. Using sacred geometry and crystalline principles, they constructed buildings that were more than just shelters or places of worship. The great cathedrals, temples, and halls of Tartaria were sophisticated energy devices. Their soaring spires and towers were often capped with copper or gold, serving as conductors to draw down electromagnetic energy from the sky. Grand domes and archways resonated with the natural frequencies of the planet. Intricate geometric patterns on their facades were not merely decorative. They functioned as circuits and antennas, transforming ambient cosmic energy into usable power. Water was incorporated into many designs, flowing beneath floors or through fountain systems, because water amplifies and distributes energetic currents. Beneath some structures lay networks of channels and even liquid mercury, which helped to conduct and direct energy throughout the city. Through these means, the Tartarian civilization powered its needs, lighting their streets, heating their homes, and running advanced devices, all without burning a single ounce of fossil fuel. This was a time when electricity danced freely through the air, when light and sound were harnessed to uplift daily life and serve the common good. Many souls incarnate at that time were starseeds, emissaries from higher realms, who brought advanced knowledge to share. Under their influence, Tartaria achieved feats that would astonish your current scientific understanding. They mastered the use of frequency and vibration to grow crops abundantly, to purify water and air, and to heal disease. They knew how to construct materials that could withstand earthquakes and storms by incorporating harmonics into their design. They communicated across vast distances using energy devices attuned to consciousness, a kind of telepathic technology. There was a profound sense of oneness in that society, a recognition of the divine in all things, fostered by the very technologies that connected everything in light. Tartaria was not a perfect utopia. No human society ever is. But it was a high point of civilization, a golden age that gleamed with the promise of what humanity can be. Yet, beloved ones, we must tell of the great fall that came upon Tartaria, for this is a crucial part of the truth, long hidden. The glory of Tartaria drew the attention of forces that were not aligned with love. In the shadows, there were those who sought to control rather than uplift, beings of lower vibration who felt threatened by the freedom and light of this empire. Some were human souls, seduced by greed and power. Others were influenced by or descendants of extraterrestrial factions that had long seen Earth as a domain to dominate. In your myths, they have been called by many names. You might know them as the Dark Controllers or Cabal, ancient adversaries of human sovereignty. These forces conspired to bring Tartaria to its knees, and sadly, they succeeded in catalyzing an immense cataclysm. It came in the form of a great deluge of mud, a mudflood, that swept across the lands, burying cities in a sudden sea of earth. This was not a purely natural disaster, though Earth's own cycles were involved. It was augmented by deliberate acts of destruction. The Tartarians, in their openness and trust, were ill-prepared for such sabotage. There are records and legends, now hidden or half forgotten, that tell of strange tremors, fire in the sky, and a darkness at noon. It was as if the very elements were turned against them by unnatural means. In a matter of days, buildings that had stood for ages were engulfed up to their rooftops in mud. Entire communities were entombed, and the great energy grid of Tartaria faltered and went dark. A vast empire that had unified much of the world was shattered and submerged almost overnight. After the physical destruction came an equally profound campaign to erase what had been. The forces behind this cataclysm moved to cover their tracks and ensure that future generations would never know such a civilization had existed. In the decades and centuries that followed, they seized control of the narrative of history. They became the historians, the rulers, the shapers of the new order that rose from the ashes of the old. They rewrote historical records, altered maps, and expunged Tartaria's name and achievements from textbooks. What little remained of Tartarian culture was deliberately misattributed to other cultures or dismissed as fantasy. The proud heritage of free energy and sacred architecture was hidden, and new stories were invented to explain the inexplicable. Much of Tartaria's magnificent infrastructure was literally buried beneath new construction. In many great cities, new streets were laid out over the old ones, entombing entire lower floors of Tartarian buildings. The new power brokers of the world, the Cabal of that era, enforced a paradigm of scarcity and toil. No longer did towers pull free energy from the sky. Instead, humanity was taught to burn fuel and fight over resources. Knowledge that humans had once taken for granted was now reserved for the elite or destroyed entirely. Still, no deception can last forever, and no light can be truly extinguished.
This myth of Tartaria underlines just how distorted our human history actually is. Of course, first you have to accept that this is not just deluded nonsense, which, to be fair, many of those yet to begin their journey of awakening to a more self-empowered truth will soon label it as such, which I too would have done myself just 7 short years ago. So for those who find themselves in that category, I completely respect your perspective and ask that you absorb this information as you would an enjoyable piece of fiction. This work by the Galactic Federation aligns very closely with a book I've been researching, Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids, which is in itself very well researched by the author Guy Anderson. What amazes me most about this subject is that this is recent history, not thousands of years ago as we would have naturally assumed. As Guy himself says in his book, the year is 1776 and across the world a reset is taking place at the hands of the elites. The aim of the elites was to remove all traces of the Tartarian Empire, and I have to acknowledge that with that being their benchmark, they've done a remarkable job. It is incredible how successfully brainwashed we've been with so many things, not just Tartaria. We've been conned out of free energy of that era, as well as when it was rediscovered by Nikola Tesla before they crushed and suppressed his work, much like the elites did the same for Royal Rife and his cure for cancer over 100 years ago. But this is all coming to the surface now, no doubt literally as well as figuratively. Our true human history will be revealed in the years ahead as frequency on the planet continues to get elevated. We know some have already witnessed the true human history through the consciousness-assisted ancient holographic projectors found deep in the earth. Yes, it's time to get excited about what is to come, and for those of us who now remember more of this truth, we will be able to act as a bridge for those who are starting their journey a little later. This is all part of a grand cosmic plan that is playing out. And Jolé, what would you care to add?
You know, for people who may be new to some of this information, the first thing I want to tell you is just breathe, because it gets better, because where this takes us is to the light. We want to turn over this rock. We want to look at some of these things so we realize, I want to reiterate, we can go, wow, that is not my fault. Some of the ways in which I've been doing things, I take responsibility for. I clean up my life, but at the same time, I recognize that this is a virus. I do not want it to be a part of me anymore. This self-deprecating behavior, this judgment, this matrix-based, ego-driven lifestyle is upside down and really needs to be turned on its head. Now, how we do that and survive at the same time is the dance. Nevertheless, the visualizations, the meditations, the grounding, the connecting with others really helps to take off some of the blindfold, so to maybe illuminate the journey a little bit better. Because he spoke about how there's a purpose we all have. And maybe it begins with us asking the question, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And watching how the universe unfolds for you in a positive way. Like I said, the negative is going to be there because that is a virus in our timeline. But the more we work on rooting out the negative in ourselves, it really is true. It's just, as humanity and where we are, some of us, a lot of us, most of us seem to fail to be able to be consistent around our most loving and highest good every single day, visualizing and seeing that. And when the trickster and the mind parasites come in is when you start, playing around with them like a cat does a ball of yarn. We're not quite where we used to be with that, which he touched on. However, we are getting there. So stay the course. And like I said before, really reach for radical self-love.
Okay, thank you, Jolé. Right, so we're going to go back onto Tartaria now with a little bit more of the same, where we are looking to the positive solutions that are waiting for us. Here we go.
The Earth's rising frequency is literally unearthing buried truths, dissolving illusions that have been in place for lifetimes. The dense veil that kept Tartaria hidden is lifting. Across the world, awakening souls are intuitively finding anomalies in the official story and boldly voicing their questions. They notice the buried windows and grand edifices that seem out of place in their supposed era. They ask, what really happened to our world a few hundred years ago? How could such grandeur have been built with only the primitive tools of the time? And why do we no longer match that capability? These questions arise from an inner knowing that something is missing from the narrative. In response, a wave of citizen researchers and truth seekers has emerged. Together, they form a grassroots movement of revelation, the heralds of a coming disclosure. We honor all who follow this inner urge to seek truth, for they are helping to awaken the collective from its long slumber. Truly, humanity is beginning to remember. Let us also speak of the one you know as Nikola Tesla, a soul who carried a spark of Tartaria's wisdom into the modern age. Born not long after the last of the world's fairs, Tesla grew up curiously drawn to the unseen forces of nature. He became a brilliant inventor, and more than that, he was an intuitive who tapped into universal knowledge, some of which his soul remembered from past lifetimes in advanced societies. It is not widely known, but Tesla was influenced by ancient Vedic and cosmic principles of energy, which are akin to the energies Tartarians wielded. He rediscovered how to draw electricity from the air and the ground, envisioning technologies that could broadcast power freely to all. Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was essentially a modern recreation of a Tartarian power tower, designed to send free wireless energy across great distances. He spoke of resonant frequencies and planetary energy grid systems, ideas that directly parallel the Tartarian understanding. This was no coincidence. It was a case of spiritual memory and divine guidance re-emerging right when humanity needed it. But as you know, his efforts were thwarted by those who profited from the age of fossil fuels and imposed scarcity. Financial backers withdrew support. His lab was mysteriously burned. His most revolutionary patents were hidden away. The same pattern played out. The old forces of control recognized the threat and acted to maintain their grip. Everything is coming full circle. The story of Tartaria, its rise, its fall, and now its rising again in human awareness, is part of the greater awakening of humanity. This is not merely about revising historical details. It is about reclaiming your power and identity. The suppression of Tartaria went hand in hand with the suppression of human potential. But that potential is returning. Dormant DNA strands and sleeping parts of your brain are reactivating as high-frequency light bathes your planet. You came into this lifetime with a purpose directly connected to this awakening. Many of you carry etheric imprints of Tartaria's culture, or of Atlantis and Lemuria before it, or of civilizations from other star systems where societies lived in harmony with cosmic law. You have always felt different, sensing that the world's limitations were artificial. This is because deep within, you remember a better way, and you are here to help manifest it again. Trust that knowing. You are meant to be a leader in these times. Some among you will bring forth new technologies, or rather, ancient technologies reborn, to provide free, clean energy for Earth once more. Some of you will help shift the collective mindset from one of fear and lack to one of abundance and cooperation, preparing the soil for these advances to take root. Others will uncover historical evidence and wisdom that has been hidden, adding clarity and credibility to what your intuition whispers. And many of you, simply through your daily life and intentions, will hold the vision of a new Earth, a world that recaptures the light of Tartaria's golden age and goes even beyond it. Each of you has a role, and each role is vital. Together, you are co-creators of the reality where truth is revealed and humanity is free.
And we're back. So I find it incredible, right? And I get it that, there'll be plenty of people out there who really struggle to believe this. But I think this is kind of just par for the course in relation to the revelations that are set to come the way of humanity over these next few years. And it is the next few years. I think this is the crucial time. This is the time when we start to understand. And again, this is the liberation behind it. We get to understand how powerful we are and how we have been suppressed. And it's amazing to think that this happened within the last 300 years, okay, over a period of time from the late 1770s through to the 1800 and odd. And, it always got me thinking, what does a mud flood actually look like? Now, I know they exist because I used to live out in California, and I know after they had the wildfires there on the side of the San Gabriel Mountains that there were then mud floods that came down during the rains in winter. And yeah, they can be really problematic. They were burying buildings where the mud chutes and the mud channels didn't work. And in fact, interestingly enough, this morning I was having a look at what's been going on across the world in terms of volcanic work, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes. There's a lot of activity out there at the moment. But also there were mudslides, huge mudslides over on the border of Georgia, over in Eastern Europe. And it showed the pictures of these things coming down. You realize it is a natural phenomenon. And if you take that natural phenomenon and then you add weather weapons to it, like we saw recently in Texas, to do, incredible damage to life, to property, and everybody. So you start to realize how this is absolutely possible. Because one of the things, obviously, if we think about who is truly behind all the dark stuff, right? The Cabal, as they are called. Who are the Cabal, right? Well, I'm going to read you a little something here because, again, this comes from Elena Denan, our friend Elena Denan. And I'm going to read you a little couple of sections from here because it's very interesting because this is where they talk about the Cabal, right? This is just a single paragraph here. So Cabal, this is the name regrouping all Terran secret alliances. Bear in mind, Terran means Earth-based. Terran secret alliances with your malevolent extraterrestrial occupants. Invader races on Terra set deals with the US government and other leading economic powers. How do we pronounce this? It's spelled Ciakhrs, Ciakhrs. Okay, and that is the name of the empire from which the Reptilians come, amongst others. So Siakas composed the secret pyramidal summit of the military-industrial extraterrestrial complex, controlling information related to alien presence, human elites, media, corporations, institutions, and financial systems. They stimulate wars, scarcity, fear, and insecurity, encouraging corruption, ethnic and religious ferocity, terrorism, drug trade, and organized crime. There is a strict hierarchy involved with the Siakas and other extraterrestrial races involved in the invasion of Terra, and as in Earth, and the reptilian forms Thuban, Siaka, and Nagai are in command of Terra-based reptilians for yourselves. And you'll also see the symbol there, which the Siaka Empire falls under, which is an Ouroboros, where the snake is the circle eating the tail kind of thing. Pyramid in the middle of the Ouroboros with a reptilian eye in the middle of the pyramid. So if you ever see that, be very wary. Now, another quick paragraph about the Siaka Empire specifically, which is worth listening to. This is what they're all about. Manipulation of the Terran, i.e. the Earth, elites. The institutions and financial systems influencing religious belief systems, militarism and the removal of Terran civilization from history, human rights abuses, elite corruption and domination, control of the medias and corporations, divisive religious dogma, historical amnesia, and culture of violence, manipulation of ethnic minorities and religions to violence and division, fundamentalism and terrorism, organized crime and drug trade, abductions, harvesting human genetic material, and adrenochrome, slave and food trade with human material. Okay, so they're not very nice people, I think it would be fair to say. But it's good to know what we're up against. And this is not to promote fear, because they are the ones who are losing the battle. Because as consciousness on the planet rises, they can no longer do what they have done in the past. It's just understanding that this is part of the whole story. Tartaria, that whole thing happened because they were able to hold that down. Because at that point, we weren't going through an Ascension program. There wasn't the defense mechanisms that are in place now that are protecting humanity as our consciousness raises, as we step into our collective consciousness to shape our new reality, which is going to be our world of unspeakable beauty. You know, no longer will the Illuminati, the Freemasons, in corroboration with the darker side of the Reptilians and the Orion and Nebu and the likes. Their days are done. But it's amazing to think how advanced that was just 300 years ago, way beyond anything we are right now. I mean, it's fine when you think, you know, Atlantis was an advanced society of 12, 13,000 years ago, because that was a different cycle ago, right? But to think this happened in recent times. So it's what's coming back to us. We know it's coming back to us. It's happening all around us. And I love the fact that, you know, we're going to get a new financial system where, you know, I mean, one of the biggest weapons, and Jolé and I have spoken about this a lot just this last week, lack, right? Financial worries, not having enough money. It affects so many people in the world. And it is one of those things that drags your energy down. So finding your abundance, finding that place. And it's not easy, right? Because we spent a lifetime being programmed to believe this stuff. But now that we're coming into our power, and we are no longer giving our consent to the matrix, then we are just going to go from strength to strength to strength to strength. Next thing, world of unspeakable beauty. And we're going to help people along the way as well, because that's what our community is all about. You know, light workers here to provide a bridge to those who get curious and want to come and explore on the lighter side of the equation, acknowledging that some people will not be able to escape the matrix, that they will be too embedded in it to get away in that. As we said before, it is as it should be, because, you know, everybody has their individuated soul path, and, you know, they have a right to their own specific journey. So with all that said, Jolé, can I bring you back in, please?
Absolutely. That was beautiful. I really agree. You know, and for those of you out there, I agree with your sentiments that you just said, John. And for those of you out there that are like, who are these imaginary friends that are coming in talking to us and that have these blocks? I understand where you're coming from because I too am sort of like, that's strange. However, I want to reiterate that it's about expanding your mind. And there's a lot of people out here in the social media sphere that are having these conversations with the Galactic Federation, or they're opening themselves up as channels. And Elevated Planet here, we offer for those of you that may be talking to or speaking with or are opening yourself up to being a channel, or maybe even hearing voices, there are rules to the game. I just want to say, and we're here at Elevated Planet are here to help you kind of find guardrails and boundaries on being able to open and close a communication with that energy, right?
Yeah.
Knowing how to have that energy not infiltrate your energy field, but instead sit outside of it, speak to the highest part of you, then that can give you the messages. Because in dealing with these entities, you have to understand that you are 3D, you are 4D, or whatever this is, your real carbon-based material, like you materialized. And you're dealing with energies that, if you allow them to come in, they can restructure you even. So I just want you to be aware, those of you that are channels, but also for people who are doubters, this is the beginning of the journey of allowing yourself to expand by just getting curious about, what is this Galactic Federation? What is this? Of course, there's artificial intelligence out there, but allow for your heart to guide you as to whether this material, this communication or information is correct.
Absolutely. And it's such an important point you make there about, when people do open themselves up as a channel, you have to do it in this super responsible kind of way, because I know that.
Yes.
And the only reason I know that is because I've known you now for the last
Yeah.
5 years, right?
Yeah.
5.5 years. And I've seen you do this time and again. And I've seen that whenever you're reaching out on behalf of Elevated Planet, when we're working together, you always make sure that the defenses are up and that what
Yes.
comes through is of the light.
Correct. And you have every right to question, you have every right to push back. And if these beings are messing with you in times where you don't want them to, like there's a responsibility and a respect. But we have symbology like roses. That is a symbol of, if you hear these voices, put roses around your ears. If there's problems, cobalt blue, drape your ears. And, there's certain things that when you're working with these energies, the symbology, the grounding, the responsibility of having your soul architecture in order, all of this is necessary, regardless of whether you're speaking to an entity or not, even in your visualization, to call all your energy back and be able to be effective in what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, no, it is so important. And I suppose that's one of the evolution points for Elevated Planet, because we've been speaking a lot about this over the last couple of months, haven't we, Jolé, about how we evolve this, because at some point we have to get this to a place where we can start to recoup some of the costs, because we want it to keep going. We want to also invest so that we can create courses, so that the kind of
Facts.
wisdom that you've got, Jolé, that can be imparted to people in a responsible way, where it's a two-way feedback loop, right? So it's not just
Exactly.
seeing a video and that's the end of it. You need to be able to ask questions, and I feel that's in our
Yes.
future.
Absolutely. And one of the abundance things that even Elevated Planet is challenged with is being out there asking for money. It is so pedestrian. You feel so nasty, dirty, and yucky, but yet and still you need to live. So the evolution of us bringing in abundance is going to be very interesting. We're looking forward to it, but you're going to see us, asking for you to help us move into something new.
Yeah,
And we'll be offering things with that. So we're
yeah,
just letting you know in
yeah,
advance.
yeah. But but I do think that we've got a lot of people who will be happy to be with us on this journey, because we're all learning and growing together.
Yeah.
And the fact is that we understand that we're here to help each other. but we
Yeah.
have to also do this in a sustainable way. And at the moment, it's not sustainable because the cash pool is running a little
Yeah.
bit dry.
Real talk.
Yeah,
So, and the first thing to do is admit it and get it out there so that you can deal with it because at the end of the day, I am a theta healer, right? And one of the first things that my teacher, the Brent Michael Phillips is his name, what he taught me or deals with in the clinics are removing abundance blocks, removing blocks to prosperity. And that was like years ago. And for some reason, they're still here, but,
I know.
I guess it's a daily sort of thing you're working with because the programming is so tough. Think about all of the things that you have to pay for that you don't really need. And part of that is calling back your abundance. This public transportation, it's getting bad, right? It's almost been taken away in some places, or it's just going downhill. These things that could be taken care of, that could make it easy, that could create community, they're dying. So it's our responsibility now to begin to create some of these things, which in turn creates abundance. How do we do that? That's what our community is for.
Yeah. On that abundance point, actually interesting because I just have it off to my left-hand side here, just beyond my computer screen. And Lee Harris, I got one of his records going back, and one of the things with the deal is that he puts a reading for you actually on that. One of the points that because I can read it here. I am ready to drop any barriers around my heart that would keep me from receiving abundance. And so one of the things he was getting from my energy was that there was a barrier around my heart around receiving abundance. And I think that we all have that
Yes.
because it's part of the matrix programming.
Yes, it is. And the things you have to reach for, like, why are you reaching out? Like, just the very thought of having to reach outside of yourself to ask someone to give you a job, like, I guess it's so ingrained in our consciousness. It's what we do. But if we were to really go off of these books, that's why, are they real? Are they stories and myths? You're supposed to go outside every day, manna from heaven, and each day we get our bread. So I don't, yeah, I guess that means, but it's corrupted. Do you see? There's a virus in the system because you were supposed to go out into Mother Nature and community and together, but now you're in a cubicle or you're in behind a desk or behind a register giving. So it's a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
And that vibe is kind of creates unwellness.
Yeah. No, it does. Now, I mean, but when it comes back to it as well, there's one of the things that makes it easier for me is understanding that this whole cycle of darkness that we've come through, of the duality of the mind-based consciousness as opposed to the heart-based consciousness to which we are returning, unity heart-based consciousness. This has happened for a reason. Even the likes of the Draco Alliance and all their friends, they are playing a role here. This has set the challenge, but this has gone far enough now, and it's now time for us to come bouncing back into heart-based unity consciousness and create our world of unspeakable beauty. But it's all happening for a reason. And
Yes.
it's and it regardless of all this stuff, it is such an honor to be here on the planet right now, to be
Yeah.
here at this time of transition. It's exciting. It really is.
But that it just goes to show that we have work to do to some degree of on ourselves, because you see it like how many people have you seen or have heard of that one day they're down in the dumps, they have nothing, they're on their last penny in their pocket, and the next day there's some windfall or there's some job or there's something that they, but there's something that they've done, their creativity, their consultation, whatever it is that can bring them to a point of, oh my gosh, I can exhale. Let's create that for ourselves and other people because what I'm learning is it takes more than you, right? You can sit here and sketch and art, but somebody needs to buy your material, right? We
Yeah.
can make these videos all day, meditate, but somebody needs to kind of want to hear what we have to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was something that we've talked about is like building programs that are very tailored to each person. So
Yeah.
identifying blocks that we each individually have, and then create a program around that which is absolutely just unique to that person. And that program might last for 6 months. And then at the end of the 6 months, then you see, okay, right, where are you now? And then you move
Yes.
on to the next 6 months. It's kind of like that is the idea. And, I'd be up for that as much as anybody, right? Because
Yeah.
I know those, as Lee Harris spotted himself, I have blocks. And, that was
Yeah.
just from reading my energy.
Yeah.
But he also had a lot of really positive things to say about Elevated Planet as it happens. So that was the challenge for me. But the rest of it was really beautiful and, expansive for everything that is, building and what will build in the time ahead.
Okay, before we move along, can we hear the quote one more time?
Oh, yeah, sure. I have to kind of dodge around my microphone here to read it. It says, I am ready to drop any barriers around my heart that would keep me away from receiving abundance. And that's one of, I think, 5 points that he made on my reading that was
Okay.
included. So, yeah, but he did say, I am an extraordinary creator and my love for creating will only deepen as I grow. That was another thing. So,
That's nice.
yeah, isn't it? Thank you,
Nice.
Lee. Love.
Yes, but we like that dropping the barriers around the heart. That is something that we can use in the meditation to call in more abundance and to get out of the duality of the mind. Because even that quote, it came in that, the mind, the heart can overcome the duality of the mind. It can, whatever programming and virus is there, the love of the heart can overwhelm that.
Yeah. 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 I see that. Absolutely. And that's why, stepping into our power makes us unstoppable. That's why this higher timeline expression is unbreakable, cannot be knocked off course. So, there is nothing to fear and everything to look forward to.
Yes.
So
All right.
anyway, are we at that time now, Jolé?
Yeah, I think we are. Time to meditate, to
So
creatively visualize.
yes, and we're going to have Dr. Joe Dispenza to lead into this because the words of wisdom that pour out of him over only a minute or so are so deep and so profound and so really what this is all about.
Mhm.
Couldn't resist the opportunity to bring Dr. Joe in and dazzle us with his brilliance. So, okay, let's do it. Nice.
Yes. Okay, let's
We'll
do
see
it.
you on the other side.
Einstein said the field, the wave, the energy is the sole governing agency of the particle. Energy controls matter. He didn't say the particle controls the particle. He said the field controls the particle. If you change the information in the field, can you change the projection, the particle in three-dimensional reality? This is a holographic universe. So if the quantum field is an invisible field of energy that exists beyond our senses, beyond our body, our environment, and time, then the only way we are going to connect to it is take all of our attention off our body, all of our attention off the environment. What's the environment made of? People, objects, things, places, and take all of your attention off of linear time, the predictable future and the familiar past, and find the sweet spot of the generous present moment. That's the unknown. That's the door. That's the moment you become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, no time. That is the moment you are pure consciousness. And that is the moment you're walking through the door to the quantum field.
Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Relax your body as you put your feet flat on the floor and your palms face up on your thighs. Bring your awareness to your heart. And from this space of love, ground your energy into Mother Earth. Visualize a grounding cord 6 inches in diameter between your sit bones, traveling down through the layers of Mother Earth and rooting itself in her core. Pull your aura in to be 1.5 feet around you. Your higher self standing at the power position at a comfortable distance above your spine and your crown. And your astral body snapped in your physical body. And now take another deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. Gently exhale and visualize your feet, the bottoms, opening like the lens of a camera, calling in 15% earth energy of a color that resonates with you. Pooling in the bottoms of your feet, traveling up the side channels of your legs. And while this is happening, bring your awareness, you're in your heart, but open your crown like the lens of a camera and call in 85% cosmic gold life force energy. And see this come cascading down from the heavens, raining down on your higher self, your aura layer, creating this opening at the top of your aura layer. And as it begins to pour in and into your crown, this energy is just so healing. It's like living waters moving throughout your brain, its folds, all the parts of your mind, cleaning it out, moving out any viruses and parasites as it moves down the spine, lighting up each vertebra on its way down, meeting with that earth energy, and then beginning to fill you up like water fills up a cup. Completely just filling you up. And this essence is just washing away any disease, any illness, sending it down your grounding cord and replacing those areas in the body, the mind, and even the spirit, the nervous system, where you feel unsafe, unprotected, holding pictures of lack, scarcity, limitation, moving out the lack of creativity and blocks in the arms, moving out and down into Mother Earth to transmute any lack of manifestation or movement, low back pain. Let's bring that gold light and that earth energy into our back, moving that energy out, moving childhood trauma out of the thighs, down the grounding cord, filling it up with limitlessness as we bring our awareness again back to the heart. And we breathe. And we ask our heartbeat to sync up with our breath. We command it. And from this heart-centered space, we begin to welcome in abundance, welcoming it in, receiving. But first, and as we're receiving, during receiving, we're going to purge and move out. Open up your brow chakra like you would the lens of a camera. And outside of your aura layer, 5 feet to the right and to the left of you, you're going to put roses. And you're going to clean out the center of your head. We're going to do it together. So I'm going to go quiet. You open up your brow chakra like the lens of a camera. And you're going to send every person, place, or thing that you may be thinking about or whose energy you may be holding, who has expectations of you. The clothes off your back, your car, your house, your home, everything you're going to put into the rows outside your aura. And there's a golden sun above your head with your name on it and abundance. This is an abundance golden sun. And you're going to call all your energy back from all of these people, places, and things. So let's do that now. Release it and let it go so you can receive any energy that's blocking your ability to do this. Turn it bright red in your body Send it down your grounding cord and allow for that earth energy and that cosmic gold life force energy to fill up those spaces and places. And now, in front of you, I want you to visualize while this is taking place. Yes, you can multitask spiritually. Allow for this just to pour out into the roses while you're calling your energy back. But in front of you, I want you to visualize a table with every piece of paper that represents your currency and every coin that represents your change in your currency. And I want you to look at all of this money and ho'oponopono it 10 times. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And now I want you to go ahead energetically and grab all of that currency up, your energetic body, your astral body is going to just gather it up gently, gently, and with love and with joy. And what you're going to do is you're going to embrace it and bring it into your heart. Now, as you do this, inside of you, I want you to watch this money grow in your heart and expand out. And so, as this essence of Mother Earth and cosmic divine life force energy moves through your body and your cells, I want you to see abundance, whatever that looks like to you, moving throughout this energy and all your cells grabbing at it and taking it on. These cells are thirsty. They want all the abundance they can get. So from your toenail all the way up to the last hair on your head is going to represent a symbol of abundance in every cell in your blood. Move this abundance, this law of abundance. Let it fill you up. Watch this money that you just brought in your heart multiply. And then it just begins to push out into your aura layer. I mean, it's just so much. You're just sprouting money. And then all of a sudden, your aura layer is just filled with abundance and so much money that now is spilling out into your environment. And you're just this waterfall of money, coins, dollars, bills. And you see your family and your friends benefiting from this abundance. And you see Mother Earth even beginning to benefit from this abundance, because now you see these beautiful gardens and orchards and communities sprouting up all around you, even behind you. I mean, because you are sprouting out, have that vision of just being a waterfall of money. I mean, with 3, 4, 5, 6 different sprouts, just sprouting out coins, sprouting out dollars, sprouting out bills, just filling you up. I mean, it's just so much abundance within you, so much love. Money loves you. Money loves us. Abundance loves us. We are abundance, and we are abundant. And when you're ready, you're this beautiful fountain of money just sprouting out of your crown, your hands, your feet. And that golden sun is still there, filled with abundance. I mean, that's how much abundance there is. It just keeps coming in. When you're ready, those roses to the right and to the left, 5 feet outside your aura layer, you're going to give them an energetic push, blow them up, see them turn into fireworks, and transmute into positive, creative life force energy for anyone to use. You're going to bring that golden sun down through the higher self. The aura layer just absorbs down and in, and that earth energy and that golden life force energy, it just absorbs it and it just solidifies it. All your energy comes back and just fortifies all of this abundance and this fountain. And Mother Earth is just continuing to send you abundance, and the divine is continuing to send us abundance. So feel this energy. Let that golden sun extend and expand out into the aura layer. It then lights up the toroidal field, and all you see are just so much abundance all around you in your ley lines, your toroidal field. It's just nothing but abundance and the laws of the universe just etched into your toroidal field. And then that pyramid with the capstone, it starts spinning, but your capstone is connected. You're whole and complete in your abundance. There's no games, no gaslighting. It's all real. As then that white light from the divine says, yes, you are abundance. Shining down on you, fortifying you, stabilizing you with the frequency and vibration of abundance. Having you realize that you are a channel of light and blessings as this white light extends and expands into that beautiful vision that you have of what your abundance has created within your environment and Mother Earth. And then it's all this white light and abundance is pushed out into the universe. Access for all. Yes, there's enough. Hold this as you breathe with the rhythm of your body. It is safe for you to be wealthy and abundant. It is safe for those around you to be wealthy and abundant. It is safe for Mother Earth to be wealthy and abundant. Take a deep breath in. Exhale as you close your feet chakras like you would the lens of a camera, and you see earth energy recede. You close your hand chakras as you take a deep breath in and exhale. And you just allow for that creativity, just see it moving through your arms. And just see that power and that energy and that ability to heal and manifest just coming through the palms of your hands, even though your chakra's closed. It's like glowing orbs above your hands, glowing orbs of love and manifestation. Beautiful. As you take a deep breath in and exhale, if your heart is open, you want to close those double doors, as well as your brow chakra, like the lens of a camera. And let all of that beautiful energy settle in abundance. Now your subconscious, your conscious mind, they have their marching orders. And take this last deep breath in as you hold it for a moment and exhale as you close your crown and you see that cascading gold waterfall of beautiful life force energy ascend back into the heavens. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Jolé.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to have to finish this program quickly because I'm going to go and spend some money down the shops.
Good luck. May your money spending bring it back to you double.
You know, but you know what I do, to me, this is all about removing these blocks because I think so many of us have them because that is part of the program is to have us living in limitation and lack. So to have assistance to help to overcome this and to make it into a practice is so important because
Yes.
that is the route to freedom as I see it.
Yeah. And that is, it's very, very true. And you wonder why you're not where you want to be. Like I spoke about, oh, I took theta healing. Well, it's because consistency, practice, that stuff has been lacking. We take for granted some of these things because we think we know, but no, getting in the trenches with this stuff. What does it look like? Journaling,
Mm.
putting your booty on Mother Earth, sitting down, breathing in fresh air, water, having positive thoughts. These things matter. And if you have any doubt whatsoever, Dr. Joe, it tells you you've just ruined everything that you've done and you've got to start again. So it's like that. And that's part and parcel of the healing.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And it's, I mean, Dr. Joe's wonderful in what he does and how he explains things. So
Yeah.
always worth latching onto his wisdom, that's for sure. And, I mean, the thing that really excites me so much about, enabling us to build this into a sustainable thing, elevated planet, is that, our vision for the future is to get out and help so many people, right? To be of service to so many people, to be able to have in-person events, to have, to fill arenas, to fill stadium, to do things like shows on cruise lines, and it's all about reaching people. And this
Yes.
is definitely a forum that reaches people, albeit with a shadow ban doesn't really help.
Yeah, not at all.
I'll have to do another meditation on that. But anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I
Okay.
think it's wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Jolene, do a quick wrap up, yeah?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah.
But, like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe. And tomorrow the newsletter goes out with the edited version of this recording on it. Anybody who wants to be part of our community, you would be exceptionally welcome. Drop an email to me, John Drew at elevatedplanet.life, or reach out to us on our website, which is elevatedplanet.life/contact. Gets you to our contact page, which gets you to a free format message box, and you can say whatever you like. We promise we will always get back to you. So we would welcome your comments and your thoughts. So, okay, Jolene, are we done?
Yes,
Fantastic.
we are done.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for being here today, supporting the cause, and thank you to everybody who watches the recording. And we love you loads, and you're the reason we're here. And we're growing into this together, into the new earth and our world of unspeakable beauty.
Yes.
Doesn't get
All
any
right.
better than that. So take care.
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Jolene. Bye.